Crime-Fighting Knights. Prologue. Surrounded. The first lunged from behind. Blue grabbed his arm and threw. The rest attacked. He kicked, dodged a punch, spun, swing kick, roundhouse, punch, arm lock, snap at elbow, planted his foot in the genitals. His attackers felt pain. Blue was like a blur of motion. The thugs surrounding Blue in the alleyway back up, crawl, limp, and stagger back. "They're afraid," Blue observed, uprighting, beside himself as he expected them to continue to attack. "You know how to fight now," Night Shadow chimed in Blue's earpiece. "But I've fought before. People usually fight till they win." "People do. This is the criminal mind we're speaking of now. You'll come to know the differences soon, especially the cowardice." "But they were talking so big before." Blue chuckled, watching them still retreat. "Remember, bullies don't want to fight you. They just want to beat you up," Blue finished, smirking. You heard the phrase before." "It's from one of my very favorite books," he said as he fired the grapple into the air. He couldn't believe this day had finally come. All his training, all his hard work, it was all for this moment. Spending time with Night Shadow had been the hardest thing he had ever done. The training took him near the breaking point. Every day presented its own hardship, a new obstacle to be overcome. And some days were much harder than others. He thought back to where it all began. Moving into the city to act, and finding little work, money, or ability to do so, there without becoming corrupt himself, Adam had found himself with little left and little to come. Seeing real-life heroes being put down with mockery and hate, or actually riddled with their own corruption or ineptitude, he decided to at the very least change this. It was time to protect those who do right and punish those who do wrong, especially since the government wasn't doing that. Not at all. That first night was still as clear as a bell. He pulled the cowl over his face. His deep blue eyes looked out through eye holes cut in the black cloth. He tied the knot in the back of his mask. It was time for the blue shadow to emerge. Villains, wicked people, those who hurt others unjustly, beware. The blue shadow is here. Blue is all you'll remember, and black. That's all you'll see for days. Edges of deep navy blue cloth attached above a fit chest. The bottom of the cloth flopped down to hang near the ankles. Fingers slid into gloves and clenched. A belt buckled in front. A boot slid on. Laces tightened fast. The shadow was complete. It was time. Adam stood in the alleyway. He felt out of place some. This is so crazy. It's just like acting. But the difference is justice is actually being done. Am I doing right? Yes. Yes, I am. I'm protecting folks from the evil the government refuses to deter. Adam leapt to grab the ladder of the fire escape. He pulled himself up upon grabbing it, but the ladder suddenly let loose and slid down. It stopped. Adam, a bit startled, looked about to see if anyone saw. Seeing no one, he regained his motivation and composure and pulled himself up to climb to the landing. He gazed out at the gorgeous city. Wow. A cry in the night. Adam looked in the direction of the cry. Another followed it. He sprinted to the other alley side of the building, cape flowing in the wind. Classic, he thought as he saw himself running in his mind's eye. A typical attack he came upon in the alleyway. A man attacking a woman. This was it. Adam stepped up to the edge of the building. He aimed, breathed in deeply, and with some hesitation and concern about being 2 stories up, leapt, feet down, like twin missiles, gravity their propulsion. Bam! His heels snapped the man's collarbones instantly as he broke Adam's fall. Adam clambered up and looked down on the man screaming in agony. The older weight woman, however, also screamed again, grabbed her purse from the ground and ran as best she could, as fast as she could away. I can't believe it. I just did that. I saved someone. Returning to the rooftops, he marveled at his own success. Contemplating it, he decided this was now his block to protect, to patrol. Most of the buildings were in jumping distance from each other, and there was many a fire escape. He could cover the entire area and still be able to make it back to his apartment. No need to venture out too far, just yet. The rest of the night ended uneventful. The next day, Adam awoke and checked the local news on the internet. It was already reported? The woman had reported it as soon as she could. The man was found at a nearby hospital and was now incarcerated, as she identified him. She also claimed a crazy man in a crazy outfit saved her. Adam smiled. Publicity? Check. Time to fix the image and make heroes great again. Adam prepared himself for work at a local restaurant. Oh, the day would be different. Yes, it would. For he would be marveling at his own success and planning more. After a few more nights of random patrols and dropping homemade tear gas bombs on some drug deals and gang gatherings, Adam was soon becoming the talk of the block. The police, as usual, put down all the enthusiasm and hype on his actions, calling this mystery man a danger to himself and others, and that it's not all that great, and that he should stop, and that he is causing more damage than good. Adam watched this all on the internet with bitter apathy. He sighed and got up. It was late, and time for another patrol. Donning his cape and cowl and other odds and ends, he climbed out onto his rooftop and made his rounds. A shadow watched him, however, as he leapt the gap of 2 buildings. Adam stopped some hours later. It was the end of his patrol. Nothing had really happened, but honestly, it was a good thing, even though he was hoping for some more action. He looked around and walked away from the street when someone leaped from a dumpster and grabbed his shoulder. Hold it! I've had enough of you! Adam grabbed the man's hand, spun, locked their arms, disengaged, punched the hooded figure in the face, and stomped the back of his knee, causing the shadowy being to fall off balance, and then threw him over his hip onto the ground. Readying to punch the man out, Adam yanked back his fist for maximum impact. But the man suddenly yelled out, Wait! Stop! Adam froze. The man pushed his hood back and pulled off his ski mask. He had short, jet-black hair, except for streaks of gray at the temples, and a dark goatee. His face was handsome and wise. Adam eyed him warily.
My name is Night Shadow. I wanted to test you to see if you really were like your reputation.
Adam knitted his brow.
Will you let me up? I'll explain more.
Adam stepped back, and the man rose and patted himself off.
Sorry about the front. But like I said, I had to make sure you were serious.
What do you want?
I want to train you.
Train me?
Yes. Follow me.
Wait. Hold on.
What? Why?
Listen, how can I trust you? I don't even know who you are.
Like I said, my name is Night Shadow. I'm an old hero, and I want to train you. I think it's about time Atlanta had a hero, and I'm impressed you took the role, even with how unequipped you are.
Still, Wait, just go home, all right, sir?
Wait, but I can train you. I can teach you to fight, to patrol, about crime, about the criminal mind. I can fund you, give you armor and tools.
Look, sir, I don't even know who you are, or at least if you are who you say you are. Besides, I've never heard of any Night Shadow. Adam turned and walked away down the alley.
Watch out! Don't do your good deeds publicly to be admired by others, or you will lose the reward.
Adam froze. You know, Satan also quotes scripture. The old man sighed.
Indeed he does.
Adam continued walking.
Look, sooner or later, the heat's going to get too much for your level of skill. And then what? You'll eventually be killed, or the mob will follow you, knock you off, or worse, your friends and family will...
Adam grabbed the fire escape ladder to climb it.
Fine. Look up the 7th Avenue Rescue when you get curious.
Adam stopped.
If you change your mind, Adam, type I accept into your keyboard and press enter.
Adam's eyes widened at the sound of his own name, and he spun after the man. But no one was there. Adam took a few steps forward and looked around. How does he know my name? The man was nowhere to be seen. Adam eventually took to the ladder and dashed up the fire escape and leapt from building to building, taking the long way to the apartment. As he climbed into his window, he did another take, seeing if anyone had followed him. No one. He climbed in, shut the window, locked it, pulled the curtain, double-checked the closets, doors, locks, everything, then readied for bed and lay there, awake. Who is this man, and how does he know who I am? Is he who he says he is? These questions and more ran through Adam's head until he finally passed out, only to have dreams of those questions and the possible, frightening answers. Adam finally woke up. He went to his PC after typical morning hygiene. He opened his email. Nothing. Wait, something just came in. The email read, "Thank you for your application, but we have chosen someone else for the lead." Adam slumped a little lower in his chair. Another rejection. Would he ever get a part? Would he ever make a movie? He was out of money for rent, and there were no other jobs near enough to pay to cover anything but gas. This was what he loved. How could he do anything else? He slumped into his chair, chin in his hand. The answer was, he would have to do something else. And then he remembered. Type I accept into your keyboard and press enter. Adam thought of this for a moment. He tossed it around in his mind. Then he looked up the 7th Avenue Rescue on Google. Hundreds of links showed up. Adam went to the wiki. A small clipped link to YouTube showed security cam footage. A subway entrance to 7th Avenue. A woman was walking down it alone when suddenly a man grabbed her. As soon as he did, however, another man ran from out of frame in a trench coat and a hat and grabbed the assailant, broke the attacker's arm, and threw him off the woman. The man in the coat ran off, and the attacker fainted, then and there from the pain. Security came up shortly thereafter. A freeze frame at the end of the video showed a fuzzy image of a man. It could be the man, I suppose. Have security cameras ever been good? Other blurry incidences were listed down the page as possibly linked occurrences. Each involved a strange, covert man suddenly saving someone in a similar fashion. Various conspiracy sites were also linked, each filled with fans and enemies and the curious alike, all wondering who the man was. Some even wondered if he was some kind of hero that no one knew of, or perhaps a hero everyone has forgotten. Adam wondered how fake this could be, and how much of it could have been set up. But it was impossible to find out. Finally, he gave in, and simply typed the words into his keyboard. He paused, he sighed, and with one final look, and something resembling determination in his eyes, pressed enter. Nothing. Nothing happened. Nothing happened for a long time. He let out another sigh and got up. He was hungry. But with no money, and how little the pay was because of the alleged big tips, his bank was empty. No gigs were hiring, his car was too old to sell, as well as his PC, and his small apartment rent was up. He zipped his jacket up tighter as he exited the street. Winter was coming. Stepping outside the normal way instead of the rooftop, reality hit hard. The whole superhero thing in real life was dumb. It was just a dumb, silly kid dream. Just like acting was. He should have gotten a basic job, like in a warehouse or a store, and lived a normal, boring life. His dream was stupid. They all were. A car suddenly screeched around a corner and gunned it toward Adam. He spun to see what was going on, only to see the car change its trajectory at the last second and skid to a halt, back door flying open. Someone he didn't know was now behind him and shoved him in. A mask suddenly slid over his head before he could see. He struggled against a powerful grip, but soon felt very sleepy. He suddenly awoke, blinking his eyes open. He lay on a couch in a very dark room. He slowly rose, and as he regained consciousness, he became aware of blinking lights, computers, flat circles, and racks of various weapons, and in another corner, several transparent tubes, each with a separate mannequin and costume inside. There were many more things to see, but Adam was interrupted as a familiar voice echoed through the chamber.
"Welcome, Adam."
Adam spun and leapt up.
"Don't be alarmed, my boy. You are unharmed. I merely brought you here in a way that no one could follow or suspect you knew about or went along with willingly."
Adam looked about, then at Night Shadow stepping from the shadows. "So this is what you meant, huh?"
"Yes. This is my cave or lair or solitudal place or whatever you want to call it. I have trained and defeated some of the best, all starting from this place."
He waved his arms around at the massive chasm.
"So, are you ready to get started?"
Adam looked about, still unsure as he wasn't planning on all of this actually happening. He then finally found his words again. "What'll I be learning?"
"Everything I know."
He offered an arm to guide Adam on a tour.
"Here you will learn free running, acrobatics, martial arts, infiltration, special forces training, SEAL training. You will become a master of disguise. Know all of it I do on economics, business, medicine, psychology, the justice system, criminals, the military, languages, technology, inventing, and more."
They passed by the things Adam could see from the couch and more, until finally they came to a different room. "What's in here?"
"That's the simulator. Generic name, I know, but it is what it is. Holographic simulations for training purposes."
Adam stared in awe, but also wondered how much of this was actually real. They finally made their way back to where they started their walk.
"So, are you ready to begin?"
"Yeah," Adam answered. "But what about everything else?"
"Don't worry. I'll have generic emails you can send to your friends as well as certain minutes you can spend on social media. We can't have you actually disappearing now, can we? I also had your apartment canceled and mail forward, and things moved to your living quarters here. I went to inform your agent, but I regret to inform you she had already dropped you, and didn't tell you. Other than that, no one is the wiser."
Adam was slightly angry at that last bit about his agent, but he was obviously on to bigger and better things now anyway and let it go. Things were looking up. Adam stared at the ground for a moment, and then suddenly looked up. "Was it really you?" he asked about the videos. Night Shadow stayed silent for a bit, watching Adam with a hint of a smile.
"Not every time."
He winked. Adam looked away in stunned revelation, but then turned back and cocked half a smile of his own. "Well, what's first?"